been precisely timelined. There are five blocks of time during which the crew will be observing the moon from Orion's windows. At any time, 2 members will be at the windows working in a pair. One crew member will be taking photos from window 2 with a blue shroud over the window. This can help prevent that glare or reflection from inside Orion. They have an 80 to 400 millimeter zoom lens to use. The other astronaut will be in window 3 using their portable computing device, you'll hear that referred to as PCD, to make annotations. Both of these crew members will make audio recordings of what they are seeing, and they'll wear headsets connected to those PCDs. Those audio recordings will be sent to the science team at a later date. We will not hear them live. The 2 crew members at the windows will swap roles and positions halfway through their timelined block. The other 2 crew members who won't be at the windows at that time will be serving in the background as support. One will be conducting the science sit reps, or situation reports. This is what we will hear live from the crew. They'll be calling down a few times each hour to discuss what they are observing. Those situation reports include how the crew is positioned, any missed targets, or anything unexpected they saw, lunar target descriptions, any hardware issues, and of course, their emotions and reactions as they fly by the moon. The other support crew member will take pictures of the astronauts at the windows and serve as camera support, providing new SD cards when needed. There's a 15-minute time frame between each observation block during which the 2 support members switch places with the crew making observations. Two views, both coming from Orion. There on the left, the inside of the spacecraft, and on the right, a view of our moon, the destination for today. During the lunar flyby today, Orion will provide astronauts with a full disk view of the lunar surface. They'll have a higher vantage point, much farther than Apollo's lunar orbits on average. And these astronauts can observe both holes and large-scale geologic features in a single view. And due to our April 1st launch date and current illumination conditions, the Artemis II astronauts have become the first humans to directly observe certain far-side regions of the moon with unaided eyes. Great, thank you. You ready?
No.
It's me. That's okay.
How do I, is it all?
We are now 36 minutes until we see the Integrity crew pass the Apollo 13 distance record. And joining me on console, I have Julianne Gross, the Artemis curation lead. Thanks for joining me today.
Thanks for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
We're very excited to have you. So can you tell me about your role as Artemis curation lead and what that entails?
Yeah, so for the overall Artemis campaign, I'm the Artemis lunar sample curation lead. That means I'm helping NASA to return the next set of lunar samples from the lunar surface. And for Artemis 2 specifically, I'm one of the science theme leads, and specifically I'm responsible, or the voice, for impacts, poles, and landing sites.
Fascinating. So what helped us select the targets that the crew is going to be photographing today?
So we had a plan coming in where we basically made a list of all the available targets during the April launch window, because before you launch, we wouldn't exactly be sure which targets would be visible. And so once we launched, we then were able to cut down on that list and prioritize our targets. And the 5 theme leads came together and really discussed and talked through which
the long lens configured for lunar flyby.
Which targets we could then see and prioritize. And so that made it into our plan. We worked then with timeline to make sure that all the targets are visible. Some targets are time dependent, like Earthset or Earthrise, and some targets will rotate out of view when Integrity starts going around the moon. And so we put these in early so that the crew has a chance to describe those to us.
Fascinating. I cannot wait to hear what they have to say. So we just heard them say that their long lens is configured. That's very exciting. And for us, when we look at the moon from Earth, what features are we seeing that the crew will also fly by today?
Yeah, so I really hope that people on Earth who are in nighttime will look up into the moon tonight. The features that the crew will see that we can also currently see is Aristarchus Plateau. Grimaldi is another feature. They're going to be sort of on our limb. And then Oceanus Procellarum, that really dark, large area on the near side that we can see. The crew is going to see that in the beginning. The more they fly around, the less of that they will see. So those are targets we will hear them describe early on in the flyby.
Fascinating. Well, and the crew has been training for years for this day. And so we're going to hear them make a lot of calls about what they are seeing on the moon. And they're going to use a lot of interesting terms that I myself need some brushing up on. So could you walk us through a few of the things that we'll hear them use to describe the moon, like albedo, exosphere, ejecta, just some of those major terms we expect to hear from the crew?
Yeah, of course. Albedo is basically a term of a reflectiveness of the surface. And so high albedo usually for the moon means bright areas, and low albedo means like darker areas. And so when you look into the night sky, you can see the high albedo areas are the white parts and the low albedo ones are the darker areas. Ejecta is when you have an impact and it ejects or throws out material that then ends up on the surface, and you can see that as sort of rays or ray systems. So you might hear them describe, I can see Ohm, for example, with its rays. It has an isometric rays coming out, and so we are excited to hear them describe that. You might hopefully hear stuff about color or color hues. And so if they can see any changes in those color hues from like white to gray to maybe brownish, we're excited to hear about that.
A lifetime and held the role of the science evaluation room lead during the flyby today.
So you mentioned the science evaluation room and being lead during that flyby. So what was that experience like for you? I know we saw some images coming from that room and it seemed like a lot of excitement there.
It was a complete joy in that room. It was a day just filled with science, with happiness, with love, and just really we got the chance to live out a lot of our dreams today, listening to the descriptions from the crew. So we got to have a lot of fun. We got to feel their joy, but we also have a lot of science to follow up on.
And so today, I think, was just the beginning a little bit. And there on your screen, for those at home, you can see a look inside the science evaluation room. Now it's a little bit empty as folks have wrapped up that lunar flyby. But again, it's just the beginning for some of that data. But for those who may not know, what was the role of the SIR or the science evaluation room during the flyby?
So today during the flyby, we had a documentation of the flyby. And also you heard some of those great questions and science conversations that came down today. And so our response, our goal was to actually listen to those questions, get responses, and actually try to get those back up to help them be excited about it.
Go ahead.
Yes, Tess, we needed a new spot for a trash bag, so we came up with a plan, and if it's all right with you, I will let you know what we did to update the stowage.
We are happy to receive.
Okay, we managed to fill bag 2 of locker D with 3 trash bags and some other dry trash packaging stuff. That was the last location y'all gave us. We then emptied bag 8 of D by deploying all of the nitrile gloves in there. I'm seeing 3 packs of 30 and 1 pack of compaction plates into the toilet.
That is perfect. That is the next action we would have given you. So, bravo.
All right, mind meld. Thank you and good night.
Good night. Talk to you in a minute.
And we just heard some communication there between NASA astronaut Christina Koch.
Exactly.
Currently on board the Orion spacecraft. Again, they are in their pre-sleep period, preparing to go to sleep, but they are being a chatty bunch this evening, and they were just calling down about some stowage. There is actually a position here in Mission Control, the IVA, or Intravehicular Activity Officer, that tracks where everything is and where everything is stored on board the Orion spacecraft. Again, I am here with Marie Henderson, Artemis II Deputy Lunar Science Lead. We were just talking about some of the moments from the flyby, so can you tell us a little bit about what some of the biggest moments are that stood out to you during the flyby?
Yeah, I think that first time we started to hear their descriptions of colors coming down was one of those things that we have been talking about, training them on. We know it's one of those things that the human eye is uniquely capable of picking up. And so that is one of those things we really were excited about. But just listening to that eclipse, watching the video of the eclipse, and then also hearing the words that they saw some impact flashes, it was just... it was a dream, and we have so much work to do, and we're very excited about it.
So the crew following the flyby was in the process of downlinking and beginning to downlink some of that data and the imagery, but now that the lunar flyby is complete, what comes next for you and your team?
So we actually, the members of our SIR team, most of them have gone home, but we had another shift of scientists come on. They are in our Science Mission Operations Room, the deliciously named S'more. So they are working right now, and so they are waiting for that data to come down and start processing it. And so by that, we are going to inventory all the images, all the audio files that we got, and they're going to get that organized and start putting the first scientific analysis on that data.
It'll be exciting, and we're so excited to see some of those images, and of course we'll share those with the world once we are able to and once we have those. And tomorrow on flight day 7, you will have the post-lunar flyby conference with the crew. What insights do you hope to gain from that opportunity as well?
Yeah, we're really excited about this post-flyby crew conference tomorrow because we've only done one part of our data collection. And so we have heard from them during the flyby just through over the air. But the other 2 members who were at the windows, they were collecting recordings on their personal computers and also taking those images. So we have a lot of observations to listen through. And then it's then tomorrow we'll actually get to ask more questions. And so as you heard today on the during the flyby, they were really excited when they got the chance to talk to each other, talk through those discussions. And they said every time they actually took a moment to talk to each other, they were talking science and learned more from each other, and they had a different, unique perspective. We as scientists want more of that. And so we have this chance tomorrow to talk to them during the crew conference. And it's almost like when you're on vacation and you want to journal and write down everything that happened before you take the long flight home and have to go back to work. That is the same concept here. Is they had this amazing lunar flyby, and they have a lot of work left to do to get home, and so we want to hear more about it and get the chance to ask them some questions based on the data they have collected.
And I can just hear the excitement in your voice, and you keep smiling as you talk. So I can really tell that it was an exciting day for you, and there's just so much more ahead from this opportunity. But from your perspective, what excites you the most about the scientific opportunities that Artemis 2 opens for future missions?
This is just the beginning. This is the beginning of our science in Artemis, and we know that every single mission going forward will give us the opportunity to learn more. There are a lot of open hypotheses on the moon, and I'm really excited that maybe we get a little closer to closing some of them today.
Well, thank you so much, Marie, for joining us, and it was a pleasure to watch your team in action during the lunar flyby, and we can't wait to see what scientific insights y'all deliver for us the rest of the mission. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We are currently 5 days, 7 hours, and 15 minutes and counting into the Artemis 2 mission, following a launch on Wednesday, April 1st at 5:35 p.m. Central, 6:35 p.m. Eastern Time. We are currently rounding out Flight Day 6. The crew on board the Orion spacecraft, named Integrity, is preparing to enter their sleep period in about 15 minutes. This will be an 8.5-hour block of sleep, and then they will begin Flight Day 7. Flight Day 7 is expected to be a relatively light day for the crew. They will have a post-lunar flyby crew conference with the science team here on the ground towards the beginning part of their day. There will then be the opportunity for a return trajectory correction burn, or RTC-1 burn, should it be needed to fine-tune the trajectory of the Orion spacecraft as it makes its way back home to Earth. And then for the most part, the second half of their day will be relatively empty, allowing the crew to rest and do any sort of activities of their choosing. Today, the crew spent most of their time in a lunar flyby observation period, during which they captured imagery. They also captured voice recordings and made annotations of what they were seeing on the moon to provide to science teams here in Mission Control. Those science teams beginning to receive some of those downlinked assets, and they'll continue to receive some of that imagery throughout the night. And the science team will begin evaluating some of that in preparation for that science post-lunar flyby conference tomorrow. Currently on your screen, you're seeing a live look of the Orion spacecraft. This view coming to you from one of the 4 solar array wings on the Orion spacecraft. Each of those wings has a camera, and from this view you can see some of those thrusters at the bottom of the service module. Those thrusters would be used in that return trajectory correction burn 1 tomorrow, should it be needed. Now you're seeing a view of the Artemis Real-Time Orbit website, or ARO, which is available at nasa.gov/trackartemis. This provides updates on the velocity and distance of the Orion spacecraft and its crew from the Earth and Moon throughout its journey around the Moon and back home to Earth. Now that the lunar flyby and the lunar close approach has been completed, the distance between the Orion spacecraft and the Moon will continue to increase, so they're now about 16,000 miles away from the Moon, and that distance separating the crew and the home planet of Earth will continue to decrease all the way up until a splashdown, which is targeted on Friday, April 10th. That splashdown is predicted to take place in about 3 days, 17 hours, and 59 minutes. And again, should that return trajectory correction 1 burn be needed tomorrow, that would take place in about 18 hours and 9 minutes from now. This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We are currently 5 days, 7 hours, and 29 minutes into the Artemis 2 mission. And the crew recently entered their sleep period. That sleep period will last 8.5 hours. And once that sleep period concludes and the crew wakes up, it will officially mark the start of Flight Day 7 for the mission. Just a moment ago, you probably saw the Orion spacecraft on your screen as it completed a brief attitude maneuver, and now on your screen you can see a view of the Orion spacecraft with one of its solar array wings extended, and above that solar array wing is a view of a crescent Earth. Earth, of course, now the target for the return journey of the Orion spacecraft, with that splashdown expected to take place on Friday, April 10th. The flight control position in Mission Control responsible for some of those attitude maneuvers is GNC, which is the Guidance, Navigation, and Control Officer. That flight controller is responsible for managing the inertial measuring units, the global positioning system receivers, barometric altimeters, and the position, state, and attitude health of the Orion spacecraft. This console position is also responsible for commanding those attitude maneuvers. The equivalent to the GNC position in the International Space Station Flight Control Room just down the hall is known as ADCO. Currently on console here in Mission Control is the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers. They are being led by Flight Director Diane Daly, and the Capcom or capsule communicator here in Mission Control for Orbit 2 is Tess Caswell. And there on your screen on the right-hand side, you can see that Flight Director console and that Capcom console next to each other. The team here in Mission Control is staffed 24/7 throughout the duration of the Artemis 2 mission. The team rotates through 3 shifts a day, known as orbits. So currently the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers is on console, and the Orbit 3 team of flight controllers will be coming on console to complete a shift handover in about 2 hours from now.
Integrity Houston with a potential last good night before we go into a very long forward link LOS.
Go ahead.
Hey, sorry to bug you again, but the team here is looking to resume venting before we go into this long LOS. We did want to make sure that you guys know the team here has decided that there is no constraint to fecal use of toilet during vent ops. So we would like to resume the vent if you're okay with that, knowing that you can continue to use toilet for fecal purposes while we do so.
Resume the vent.
And there was much rejoicing. Hey, we also got a sneak peek at y'all's imagery. It's absolutely stunning. We are all completely in awe of the work that you did today. Thank you so much for bringing us on this journey with you. We hope you have sweet dreams of moon joy.
Thank you so much, Tess. And when you think about 10,000 pictures in a day, trying to download 10 for PAO is tough. So that's just a sampling. There's many more that look like them, and there's probably quite a few that look better than them. But that was the best we could do right there. So glad that they're appreciated. We certainly appreciated being up here in our observation post. Hey, one thing while I got you for tomorrow morning, I know we're trying to make it a light crew day, but if you could still give us our wake up on time at the beginning of post sleep, we would appreciate it so we can get our science going and get our morning about us.
We will make that happen for you. Have a wonderful night.
All right, good night until I call you in 5 minutes. See ya.
This is Artemis Mission Control. Some final communication for the evening there from the Orion commander Reid Wiseman and the Capcom or capsule communicator here in Mission Control, Tess Caswell, who you can see there in the center portion of the right block of your screen. They were discussing an upcoming wastewater dump as part of the Universal Waste Management System, aka the space toilet on board the Orion spacecraft. They conduct periodic wastewater dumps where they vent the wastewater overboard. The crew also referring to some of their upcoming activities during flight day 7, which will begin at the start of crew wake. They mentioned to the ground team here that they wanted to be woken up on time tomorrow morning. Throughout the duration of the mission, the crew has been woken up by wake-up music, which was selected by the crew ahead of the mission. And that tradition dates back to some of the Apollo era missions. And then tomorrow during flight day 7, it will be a relatively light day for the crew. A good portion of the day will be spent in an off-duty day, but at the beginning of the crew day, they will have that post-flyby conference with the science team here in Mission Control to discuss some of their lunar observations that were made during the flyby. The mission control position here responsible for some of those wastewater dumps that have been referenced throughout the mission is ECOM, which stands for the Emergency Environmental and Consumables Manager. They are responsible for the internal thermal control systems, the air and water supply and purification systems, and they also manage emergency response. The equivalent flight control position in the International Space Station flight control room just down the hallway is known as Ethos. This is Artemis Mission Control. You are now seeing a live look of the Orion spacecraft. We lost that view momentarily as it went through a data rate change. And then we are also expecting a forward link loss of signal in about 13 minutes, which will mean that the crew can call down if they want, even though they are in a sleep period at this point. But the team here in Mission Control Houston won't be able to call up to the crew during that loss of signal. We are currently 5 days, 7 hours, and 56 minutes into the Artemis 2 mission. The view there on your screen coming from the solar array wing cameras. And you can see a view of the crescent Earth above one of those solar array wings. And the Orion spacecraft does have 4 solar array wings total. The flight control position here in Mission Control that monitors some of those data rate changes is known as INCO, which stands for the Instrumentation and Communications Officer, and they manage the communication systems of the Orion spacecraft, including the phased array antennas, baseband signal processors, and audio systems. And the equivalent position in the International Space Station Flight Control Room down the hallway is known as CRONUS. The crew on board the Orion spacecraft entered their sleep period about 20 minutes ago. They will remain in this sleep period for about 8.5 hours total. And this is rounding out flight day 6. The crew spent the majority of their day today on flight day 6 making science observations and capturing imagery as part of the Lunar flyby, during which Orion and its crew passed approximately 4,000 to 6,000 miles from the moon and provided the crew with a full disk view of the lunar surface. And from this higher vantage point, the crew was able to observe both poles and large-scale geological features in a single view. And the Artemis 2 crew also became the first humans to directly observe certain far side regions of the moon with unaided eyes. During the flyby, the crew also surpassed the Apollo 13 distance record and reached the farthest distance from the Earth during their mission at a distance of 252,756 miles, which was 4,112 miles farther than Apollo 13. A couple minutes prior to that farthest distance, Orion made its closest approach to the moon at a distance of 4,067 miles. At this point in the Artemis 2 mission, rounding out flight day 6, the crew and the teams on the ground have begun or completed 23 of the 27 high priority objectives for the mission, which have already provided tremendous insight into the operation of the Orion spacecraft and also provided critical information to teams as we prepare for future Artemis missions. This is Artemis Mission Control. A couple moments ago, we saw the Orion spacecraft as it completed a small attitude maneuver. These attitude maneuvers are managed by the GNC position here in Mission Control, which stands for the Guidance, Navigation, and Control Officer. They're responsible for commanding those attitude maneuvers. And during that maneuver, you could also get a good look at some of the solar array wings as they were positioning. There are 4 solar array wings, which are sometimes referred to as saws, on the service module of the Orion spacecraft. And each of those solar array wings is made of 3 panels, and each of those panels is approximately 6.5 by 6.5. And the total length of each solar array wing is nearly 23 feet, which is about 7 meters long. This is Artemis Mission Control. We are currently at a mission elapsed time of 5 days, 8 hours, and 23 minutes into the Artemis 2 mission. Today on flight day 6, the crew spent the majority of their day making science observations and capturing imagery as part of the lunar flyby activities, during which Orion and its crew passed approximately 4,000 to 6,000 miles from the moon and provided the crew with a full disk view of the lunar surface. Also during the lunar flyby, the crew surpassed the Apollo 13 distance record, reached the farthest distance from the Earth during their mission at a distance of 252,756 miles, which was 4,112 miles farther than that of Apollo 13. A couple minutes prior to that farthest distance, Orion made its closest approach to the moon at a distance of 4,067 miles. At the end of the lunar flyby period, the crew was also able to see an eclipse with the sun hidden from view behind the opposite side of the moon from the perspective of Orion and its crew. And the crew's observations during this flyby, along with handheld photography and images from the Orion spacecraft, will form the basis for scientific investigations into the moon's geological history, the lunar environment, and current processes such as new impacts. Following the flyby, the crew began downlinking imagery and data from the flyby to teams on the ground, and then participated in a couple of public affairs events with President Donald Trump and NASA Administrator Reid Wiseman. The crew recently entered their sleep period just under an hour ago to wrap up flight day 6. And with that, let's go ahead and take a look at the highlights from the day.
Mark, I think one of the most interesting things right now is the four of us have looked at this moon our entire lives, and the way we are responding to what we are seeing out the window is, it's just like we're a bunch of little kids up here. We cannot get enough of this. It's amazing. Thank you for the privilege.
Thank you for sharing that special perspective you have with all of us back here.
This is Artemis Mission Control in Houston, Texas. We recently received confirmation that the Orion spacecraft and its crew have officially entered the lunar sphere of influence, that milestone taking place at a mission elapsed time of 4 days, 6 hours, 2 minutes, and 54 seconds into the Artemis 2 mission. By reaching this milestone, it means that the gravitational forces of the moon are now greater on the Orion spacecraft than that of Earth.
Hello, Artemis 2. This is Apollo astronaut Jim Lovell. Welcome to my old neighborhood. When Frank Borman and Bill Andrews and I orbited the moon on Apollo 8, we got humanity's first up-close look at the moon and got a view of the home planet that inspired and united people around the world. I'm proud to pass that torch on to you as you swing around the moon and lay the groundwork for missions to Mars for the benefit of all. It's a historic day, and I know how busy you'll be, but don't forget to enjoy the view. So, Reid and Victor and Christina and Jeremy and all the great teams supporting you, good luck and Godspeed from all of us here on the good Earth.
Good morning, Houston. Integrity on 1. That was an awesome message from Jim Lovell, and very cool to hear him. Welcome us to the neighborhood. It's going to be a great day. Thank you.
Good morning, Houston, from inside Integrity, 215,049 miles away from Earth and 12,712 miles from the moon. Let's actually savor the calm delay that we have. We're ready for the morning DPC.
Beautiful. We are savoring it down here. Good morning, Integrity, and good morning, Moon. Our room is buzzing with moon joy today, and I imagine yours is too.
We are ready to go. We are looking forward to working with and for the science team, and we are just excited to be so close to finally accomplishing what we've been training for so many years. And also, we want to say thank you for that really special message from Jim Lovell. we have a pretty neat emblem up here. We have a patch that was flown on the Apollo 8 mission. And that patch is here on the Artemis 2 mission as well. And that was sent to us by the Lovell family, by Jim Lovell's son. And so that was a really special way to start the day. And he said to welcome us to the neighborhood, and it's great to be in this neighborhood. And we look forward to sharing this neighborhood with you all.
We can't wait. We see the patch, and it's looking beautiful. Thank you.
When this showed up in our office from his family, we were completely honored. And the Earthrise, which this crew is responsible for taking that photo, has been instrumental both to our crew as our ethos and values, but also just personally to myself. I had the photo up in my room as a kid, and it was part of what inspired me to keep working hard to achieve things I dreamed about. Also, we took a deep dive into the cockpit recordings around the time that picture was taken, and it turns out there was a lot of hubbub, kind of I wouldn't say fighting over cameras, but definitely everyone wanted to capture the shot. So we're happy to carry on that legacy because we often are all glued to windows and looking for cameras too.
And I'll just close. I know it looks like a piece of paper in the camera there, but that is actually the original Apollo 8 patch printed on silk that they had done before they launched, and they flew that with them on their journey around the moon, and then the family handed it over to us, as I said, and it's just a real honor to have that on board with us. Let's go have a great day.
Right now, the Artemis 2 crew and Mission Control are preparing to support today's lunar flyby, the first time we've sent humans around the moon in over 50 years.
Integrity, you can use the OEs and your HHP camera for the milestone words at the Apollo 13 record distance.
You'll notice that we pause every time we hear communications to and from the crew. They are the stars for today. This afternoon, the crew will have their closest approach of the moon and will surpass the record. That record just mentioned of the furthest humans have ever flown, set by the Apollo 13 astronauts in 1970. As you can see, the crew members have dimmed the cabin lights inside Orion. Dimming the lights also helps prevent reflections from inside Orion onto the windows. Ahead of this lunar flyby, let's dive in and explain what you can expect over the next several hours. The crew has about 6 hours allotted to make observations about the moon. Throughout the flyby, their activities have been precisely timelined. There are 5 blocks of time during which the crew will be observing the moon from Orion's windows. At any time, 2 members will be at the windows working in a pair. One crew member will be taking photos from window 2 with a blue shroud over the window. This can help prevent that glare or reflection from inside Orion. They have an 80 to 400 millimeter zoom lens to use. The other astronaut will be in window 3 using their portable computing device, you'll hear that referred to as PCD, to make annotations. Both of these crew members will make audio recordings of what they are seeing, and they'll wear headsets connected to those PCDs. Those audio recordings will be sent to the science team at a later date. We will not hear them live. The 2 crew members at the windows will swap roles and positions halfway through their timelined block. The other 2 crew members who won't be at the windows at that time will be serving in the background as support. One will be conducting the science sit reps, or situation reports. This is what we will hear live from the crew. They'll be calling down a few times each hour to discuss what they are observing. Those situation reports include how the crew is positioned, any missed targets, or anything unexpected they saw, lunar target descriptions, any hardware issues, and of course, their emotions and reactions as they fly by the moon.
Good morning, crew. This is Science. We couldn't be more excited for a full day of lunar and planetary observations today, the first one in over 54 years. How do you hear me?
We hear you loud and clear, and Kelsey, you just got to know you're pulling us away from the moon right now, so let's go.
Message received. I will keep it tight here. I did just want to start with a thank you on behalf of the Lunar Science team and the entire lunar and planetary science community, of which you are absolutely a part, for what you've already done in this mission and what you're going to do today to inspire the next generation of scientists. I have to say Moon Joy is the new term that's already become our team's new motto, so thanks for that. A reminder also that your observations so far indicate it will likely take some time for your eyes to adjust. We especially heard that around your terminator observations and your color observations. So reminder to know that your eye adaptation is going to kind of come in throughout your shift, and let us know when you start to see that nuance. Last reminder is around Earthset and Earthrise. When you're viewing us back here at home, you'll be looking directly at Asia, Africa, and Oceania. So I'm sure people watching from those places here on Earth will want to give you all a wave as you take their picture.
And we're live in Artemis Mission Control in Houston, but we are not the only room monitoring today's flyby. As you heard Young mention, in this same building and just down the hall, a multidisciplinary lunar science team supports the Artemis II crew in real time, including experts in lunar geology, impact cratering, volcanism, polar science, imaging, and visualization. There are two integrated facilities, and the first is the SIR, which is what you have right here. That's the Science Evaluation Room. They are embedded within Mission Control to provide science input during live operations like what we see today. Additionally, and not pictured, we have the Science Mission Operations Room, a back room that processes data, evaluates imagery, and supports rapid analysis.
Integrity crew, we have Reid's family in the viewing gallery. You're welcome to say hello.
Well, whether you're being serious or you're kidding around, that is awesome to hear. Thanks, Jenny. And hello to Ellie and Katie. I don't know who else is there, but it's great to know that you're in Mission Control right now, following along. We are having a blast up here, and the view of the moon is absolutely amazing.
I'm seeing a lot of hearts come out of the viewing gallery and even more smiles. Thanks, Reid. Copy heart, copy bracelet. Integrity crew, on April 15th, 1970, during the Apollo 13 mission, 3 explorers set the record for the farthest distance humans have ever traveled from our home planet. At that time, over 55 years ago, Lovell, Swigert, and Hayes flew 248,655 statute miles away from Earth. Today, for all humanity, you're pushing beyond that frontier. Integrity, over to you.
Yeah, from the cabin of Integrity here, as we surpass the furthest distance humans have ever traveled from planet Earth, we do so in honoring the extraordinary efforts and feats of our predecessors in human space exploration. We will continue our journey even further into space before Mother Earth succeeds in pulling us back to everything that we hold dear. But we most importantly choose this moment to challenge this generation and the next to make sure this record is not long-lived. And we have a couple more things we'd like to take this moment for. Our science team helped us out with a couple of relatively fresh craters on the moon that have not been previously named, and our crew would like to propose a couple of potential names for those items or those areas. And we spent a bit of time this morning looking out the window, and we're able to see them now both with our naked eye and through the long lens, and so we feel this is a good time to send this down, and a special shout out to Kelsey for helping us with this. The first one we'd like to suggest is a named crater in honor of our great spacecraft, Integrity. And so if you were to look at Orion on the far side and then draw a line straight up to Ohm on the far side, relatively in the middle is an unnamed crater, and we would like to suggest it be called Integrity in the future. And the second one, and especially meaningful for this crew,
is a number of years ago we started this journey in our close-knit astronaut family, and we lost a loved one. And there's a feature in a really neat place on the moon, and it is on the near side, far side boundary. In fact, it's just on the near side of that boundary, and so at certain times of the moon's transit around Earth, we will be able to see this from Earth. And so we lost a loved one. Her name was Carol, the spouse of Reid, the mother of Katie and Ellie. And if you want to find this one, you look at Glushko, and it's just to the northwest of that, at the same latitude as Ohm, and it's a bright spot on the moon. And we would like to call it Carol, and you spell that C-A-R-R-O-L-L.
Integrity and Carol Crater. Loud and clear. Thank you.
There was a moment of silence here in Mission Control Houston. And now the team and the Artemis 2 crew are ready to begin their lunar flyby.
We just realized that we have Earth out window 1 and Moon out window 2, and Earth out window 4 and Moon out window 3, and it gives you the best idea of scale we have had yet. The Moon is about 3 to 4 times the size of the Earth, and it is almost full, and the Earth is just a small crescent out there. It's magnificent. I got a picture of it with the wide lens. Such a majestic view out here.
Amaze, amaze, amaze. Thank you, Reid.
Now, this is a view from their lunar targeting package at this time, helping them determine what they're seeing on the moon, as well as on the left, keep up with what their next target will be. As you can see, we have got a long list and an exciting day ahead of us.
Houston, another observation, whole moon. When you look at the moon, something I've never seen in photographs before, but is very apparent, all the really bright new craters. Some of them are super tiny. Most of them are pretty small. There's a couple that really stand out, obviously. And what it really looks like is like a lampshade with tiny pinprick holes and the light shining through. They are so bright compared to the rest of the moon.
Cool after just being in the 400 mil for the last half hour, looking up close. I got pictures of everything Ike was just describing on the Terminator. It really is a fascinating Terminator. And then Orion just looks so dynamic right now. It's very three-dimensional out the docking hatch compared to what I was just looking at through the 400 mil.
We love it. We are getting a sneak preview from one of our SAW cameras at what you're looking at, and we see some of what you're describing. We cannot wait to see your photos. Thanks.
Yeah, Jenny, I wish you had some longer lenses on the solar array so you could see the whole moon, but man, it is, or the up-close moon, not the whole moon, but it is just fascinating here. It's so cool.
All right, MPO and INCO, take notes. We want a zoom lens on those saws next time. Thanks, Reid.
Affirmative.
At one point, towards the end of the images of my time in window 3, I just had an overwhelming only sense of being moved by looking at the moon. It lasted just a second or two, and I actually couldn't even make it happen again. But something just drew me in suddenly to the lunar landscape, and it became real. And the truth is, the moon really is its own body in the universe. It's not just a poster in the sky that goes by. It is a real place. And when we have that perspective and we compare it to our home of the Earth, it just reminds us how much we have in common. Everything we need, the Earth provides, and that in and of itself is somewhat of a miracle.
Science, integrity. First, I wanted to start off with connecting with what Christina said, that it was very moving to look out the window. I had the unfortunate sequence to start looking out the window and then moved to the long lens, and it was hard to speak looking through the Zoom because I went straight where Christina went, and I was walking around down there on the surface, climbing and off-roading on that amazing terrain. I also want to underscore something that she said. As we continue to explore, when we actually do go down there to the surface, I know for safety reasons that we would never send someone alone, but I just want to really emphasize how important the discussion time was. When we started to talk, we not only got better science discussion, we got better human connection, and so doing this as a pair, we just learn and grow together, and that's just super important, so thank you for adding that to this plan.
Integrity Houston, you are 6 minutes from your 40-minute lunar flyby LOS. From all of us, it's a privilege to witness you carrying the fire past our farthest reach. Thank you. Godspeed.
Thank you for that, Jenny, and thank you to all of you for allowing us the immense privilege to be on this journey together. It's quite amazing. And as we go on this journey, thinking about the NASA mission to explore the unknown in air and space, to innovate for the benefit of humanity, and to inspire the world through discovery. And as you've gone along on this journey with us, hopefully we're doing just those things. And as we get close to the nearest point to the moon and farthest point from Earth, as we continue to unlock the mysteries of the cosmos, I would like to remind you of one of the most important mysteries there on Earth, and that's love. Christ said in response to what was the greatest command, that it was to love God with all that you are. And he also, being a great teacher, said the second is equal to it, and that is to love your neighbor as yourself. And so, as we prepare to go out of radio communication, we're still going to feel your love from Earth, and to all of you down there on Earth and around Earth, we love you from the moon.
Houston copies. We'll see you on the other side.
We are now less than 3 minutes away from loss of signal with the Orion astronauts. The Artemis 2 crew will be out of signal for about 40 minutes as they are on the other side of the moon, continuing their work photographing the lunar surface, and they will reemerge, and we will also get this view on the other side. 30 seconds now until we expect loss of signal. And we have confirmation of loss of signal of the Orion spacecraft as it flies behind the moon. We expect to regain communications with them in another approximately 40 minutes. This was expected as their spacecraft is now out of direct line of sight with Earth and behind the moon. And this is a poignant moment as it's the first time in over 50 years that we have humans completely unreachable by anyone else on Earth. No matter how distant or secluded, we could reach anyone living on Earth, but while the crew flies behind the moon, it's simply impossible to make contact with them. And we just heard confirmation here in Mission Control Houston that we have reached the closest point of our destination to the moon at MET 5 days, 25 minutes, and 34 seconds. And we anticipate the spacecraft's altitude is approximately 4,067 statute miles above the moon. We're continuing to track what the crew is doing while around the other side of the moon. They are continuing to take pictures of the moon, the Earth now out of sight. What they are in right now is a crew choice event. The science team has encouraged them to find interesting features on the surface, to take photos of those, and describe why they were interesting. Something else that they'll be looking toward next, just momentarily, will be impact flashes. They've got a few minutes allotted to look at the darkest portions of the moon. They're interested in short-lived flashes on the lunar surface because these would be caused by impact bombardment. After their impact flash targeting, the team is interested in if the crew can see lofted lunar dust. This would only be visible just before Earthrise. Now 20 minutes until we expect to regain communications with Integrity and the astronauts for Artemis 2. We are getting our first views from Orion after the loss of signal. Orion has come back around the other side of the moon, and that little crescent that you see is Earth, over 252,000 miles away. With this transit complete, lunar flyby continues, but Orion has also technically begun its journey home. This view from inside the Orion spacecraft, all 4 astronauts now back on the other side of the moon and in contact with us on Earth. Their tasks for lunar flyby did not stop as they went behind the moon and out of contact with us. We anticipate during that time they were attempting to image some impact flashes, short-lived flashes on the lunar surface, which would be caused by impact bombardment and potentially even lofted lunar dust. Right now, of course, they are getting pictures of Earthrise.
Integrity, comm check.
Integrity, we have you loud and clear. How many?
Houston, we have you the same, and it is so great to hear from Earth again. To Asia, Africa, and Oceania, we are looking back at you. We hear you can look up and see the moon right now. We see you too. When we burned this burn towards the moon, I said that we do not leave Earth, but we choose it. And that is true. We will explore, we will build ships, we will visit again. We will construct science outposts, we will drive rovers, we will do radio astronomy, we will found companies, we will bolster industry, we will inspire. But ultimately, we will always choose Earth. We will always choose each other.
Integrity from Earth, our single system, fragile and interconnected. We copy. Those of us that can are looking back. Integrity, Houston, in mission control, all of your flight controllers and your flight director have flipped their Artemis 2 patches around. We are earthbound and ready to bring you home.
A very special moment just now in mission control ahead of the crew's flight to Kennedy Space Center, and during one of their last sims or simulations here, they visited the mission control team in Artemis Mission Control in Houston and brought us each a patch. Everyone in the flight control room has had these on their signifiers at their console. On one side of the patch that you've probably seen is the moon with the Earth behind it. Now that we've passed behind the moon and we are returning home, The flight control team has instructed everyone in the room to switch their patch around so that the Earth is closer and the moon is behind us. We are really looking forward to seeing the Artemis 2 crew. And the Capcom, Jenny Gibbons, did call that update up to the crew that the flight control team here has turned their patches around, as was instructed by the crew during that last sim. And we are counting down the days until they get home. They are now 5 days, 1 hour, and 3 minutes mission elapsed time into the Artemis 2 mission. The Artemis astronauts are about to experience a solar eclipse from their capsule. And this is a solar eclipse that no one else on Earth will experience. This eclipse is about 54 minutes, and to the astronauts, it'll look a lot like a total solar eclipse on Earth, except the moon is going to be huge compared to the sun, unlike when you watch one on Earth and the moon and the sun appear about the same size in the sky. You're getting a live look from Orion as the crew observes a solar eclipse from the moon.
Science integrity in the blind. This is continues to be unreal. The sun has gone behind the moon, and the corona is still visible, and it's bright, and it creates a halo almost around the entire moon. But when you get to the Earth side, the Earth shine is already shown. I mean, almost seconds after the sun set behind the moon, you could see Earth shine. The Earth is so bright out there, and the moon is just hanging in front of us. This black orb out in front of us, in front of now, not the blackness, but the gray that blends and drifts into the blackness. We can see stars and the planets behind it. And Christina is in window 1, Reid is in window 2 with the long lens, and Jeremy is describing it in window 3. And it is quite an impressive sight. You can still see the horizon lit up brighter where the sun set on that side of the moon. It is bright, and Earthshine is very distinct, and it creates quite an impressive visual illusion. Wow, it's amazing. Let's see, not a huge change in here, just an update. The camera settings for Earthshine are challenging. This one's challenging to capture. What we're seeing, we're just not picking up on the cameras. And after all of the amazing sights that we saw earlier, we just went sci-fi. This has, it just looks unreal. You can see the surface of the moon between, I guess, the Earthshine. I guess Earthshine. You can actually see a majority of the moon. It is the strangest looking thing that you can see so much on the surface.
Integrity Science, we were loving your science sit reps in the blind, and it should come as no surprise that we have a number of follow-up questions. First, you mentioned Reid observing meteors. Can you speak to that? Were you referring to comets or impact flashes or something else?
Yeah, there was a little bit of giddiness. We have seen 3 impact flashes so far. I saw 2, and Jeremy has seen 1. Undoubtedly, Jeremy saw 2, so that's 4 total. Undoubtedly, quick impact flashes. It was not sun glint off of particulate from the thrusters or the purge tanks. It was definitely impact flashes on the moon. And Jeremy just saw another one. Go ahead with your next question.
Amazing news. I literally just looked over at the SIR and they were jumping up and down literally. If you could describe where on the moon you saw them, please.
So they've all been either on or a bit south of the equator and on the Earth side of the moon. Stand by. All right, so Jeremy has seen them kind of on and south of the equator, kind of spread across the moon, and mine were both south of the equator and just a little bit left of center of the moon.
Incredible news, Reid, and reminder, we have citizen scientists here on Earth looking for impact flashes, so hearing you saw them on the near side means that people saw them too.
One of the other things I wanted to describe, which was surprising to me, but the entire moon is lit up. It's glowing behind the entire moon. I thought it would look, dark against the black sky or deep space, but the sun is lighting up the entire limb of the moon. You can see the entire perimeter of it, and even now with the sun far behind the moon, you can still make out little bits of topography around the entire limb, just bumps as you go around it. And there's about the glow around the moon, once your eyes adjust, is easily 10 widths or diameters of the sun around the entire moon. Science and